Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it is me, your wonderful creator, Cactus the Potted Man. Anywho, so included within this package is a wonderful little video for you that is going to contain how was this server made? What's the story of the server and how did it come to be? So, the story of the server is a bit of a bumpy one. We started out all the way back in June of last year, 2021. And in June of 2021, I met some people called Simba. Simba and Steel, we'll say that. Simba and Steel were both really good people. And I met them, we had some fun times, and overall, it was a pretty great thing overall. I met them, we played some Overwatch, and Simba invited me to their server. Now, when Simba invited me to their server, it was initially much smaller, only around 36 people. Now, around this time of 36 people or so, I had, let's see, we had been slowly inviting more people into it with a server link or friending them or whatever. Met them on comp games, met them in quick play games, and we slowly grew the server. Also, the server exploded in the first 2 weeks that we had it. Went from like 36 to 72. Boom, just kapow! Explosion. Then we decided to try to make it a real server. I got promoted to a moderator, along with Steel. No, sorry, Steel never became a moderator. I was a moderator, Simba was admin. And I set up the bots, and I set up all the stuff there was for the server. So, setting up the bots was interesting, as we had a couple different bots to choose from. I slowly updated the server, doing all the work for that, and getting it up and running. I got roles up and running, I got a ticket system up and running, I got logging up and running. So we had like tickets, we had logging, we had people to log, we had messages logged, we had tickets logged. Couple music bots, and I believe at the time Overstat bot and Overleague bot were up there. Overleague bot is shut down now, but it was a good bot to have. You could make it so like it would notify you of like Overwatch League, which was really nice for the server at the time. And we had Overstat, which was really, it's still working, but it's like really cool. Show you your stats if you were looking for people. It was very nice when we were queuing up originally, because when we were originally queuing up and making like the server and stuff, we would have like Discord calls, and we would want to check people's stats real quick in the Discord call if they're already there. So we would just have them like put it in the little chat thing. We could like go to it without having to check in game. So overall, it was pretty nice. However, you know, time moved on, and around August and September, we had a small issue with a few of our members. And we broke up the roster team. What was the roster team? Originally, the roster team was like this instant ping sort of kind of team you could have. It was an instant ping team, and you ping it, and it'd be like the favorites. We decided to take the roster team down as the server was growing larger. It just didn't make sense to have an elite group of people. And so we took it down. We also had a few issues with our members around that time, being as the first real issues we had to deal with. And all that drama has gone past. This isn't a recap for drama. It's just a recap of what the server story is. Then September hit. Now, beforehand in September, we had a growing community, and we wanted to do something with this community. We wanted to make it better than all the Overwatch communities that were already there, because we had loved the game, we had seen the game, and we had really, really, really enjoyed it. So we wanted to do something. Well, we thought it would be a good idea to do what's called custom game nights and regular game nights. We did regular game nights where we did like Among Us or TF2 or CSGO. Those didn't work. Before that, there were movie nights. Nobody showed up to them. The issue was beforehand, we had, like, movie nights and stuff, and that just didn't go over well. And then no one showed up. And then we had game nights that people would sign up for, but no one would show up for them. So it was kind of depressing. And then we moved on and made this, where we have contracts. And that was the starting of what eventually became this update team and the update and progress of stuff. So, what does that all bring? Well, originally, in September, well, in August, we were planning to do a scrims. We were planning on having a tournament. It was going to be a small tournament. You can make up teams. We had a roster up. It needed a minimum of 4 teams. We searched around for people that wanted to play. We expanded out into the community. We put ads around in the community and around to other servers and reached out. We got 4 teams. Now, the teams were assembled in the first 2 weeks of September and were able to practice together for a full month. I released the game mode. They had access to the code. It was going to be the same code at the end of the month. And we were going to do it in all of October. We got the 4 teams together. First match to start, team didn't show up. We made a rule in the beginning that if a team didn't show up, you would be given a loss automatically. Unless you were able to give a reason why you didn't show up. None of the teams showed up. So, we had a failure of an event. Our tournament didn't go off, none of the teams showed up, and there was only one team that actually was left that had people in it. They didn't show, and we had all these rewards laying around for like first and second place. So we gave the rewards to the remaining players. Even though they didn't show up, we dispersed it amongst our communities. Next up is I wanted to create a way to make the server bigger and better. Well, right around the end of that tournament season, at the end of the tournament, we had the leave of our administrator, Simba. The basic general gist is there was a dispute of community to admin and recognition, and within the matter of a couple hours, it was decided, and Simba chose to make their leave. Simba chose to make their leave, and in doing so, passed admin off to me. Originally, I didn't even want admin. I was just a moderator. I was just doing my job. But I was given control of the server. So, if you scroll up in the announcements, if you scroll up far enough, you'll find it. But, what happened then? Well, what happened around that time is we made the beginning of the contracts. And what do those contracts consist of? Well, we had the Junkenstein contracts, with roles you could get in server, and as a reward you would get just the roles on server. And we put on like these little events. Every custom game mode weekly have these roles we'd give out as contracts that you could come and do. Contractual obligations. All the contract was is you would show up on the night, play the game mode, and I would assign you that role when you showed up for that game mode. And it gave you a flashy role that you could show off in server for that time being. However, as time pushed forward and things became bigger, I was given a time of reference. For all of October, I had seen how amazing that contract system was and how big it pushed the server to become, and how having multiple events such as a daily quick game or a daily quick play and a daily comp game could really go with. Like, having those daily game modes really pushed it to being able to be something grandiose. So, while having that, it made it so that things were becoming bigger and better. Anywho, so was I gonna say? Anyways, people remember that we're there for the Halloween event. I was planning something big during that Halloween event and wanting to do something bigger. And what happened is, well, anyways, I wanted to make something bigger, and we made the Winterized Contracts. And that's where the spark of the whole system we have now starts, where we have the winter contracts, the winter Wonderland contracts that were out there, along with the game modes and the voice-acted cutscenes, and that was the starting point for what this became, the whole system. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed putting all the work into that and making that content, because one, it builds hype for people to be able to have that there, and it built hype for people being able to see it. Two, though, it was just passion. I enjoyed every ounce of it. And the server grew more and more, and we hit, I think, 150 people around that time. And then we moved on into the next year. With the new year brought a new coming of time, where we essentially, as a collective of admins and mods, wanted to make the server bigger and better at the same time. What did that mean? Well, that meant me having to think about how we wanted to approach the future. I approached the future in the way of this. The way that I did it is how it is now. We have a partner program, we have a Twitch partner program, and we have, you know, all the updates that come with it. Every seasonal update, there's extra content added on. Every individual of the months, there's between updates with rewards and all those things. The rewards are different, but it adds content, it adds flavor to the game. Stuff that veteran players will, I think, more or less like more than newbies. If you're a veteran player, you might enjoy it a bit more, as there's extra content to experience, and there's more things that you can experience with it. However, what does that give in terms of the server and how the server functioned? Well, this marked, I guess, the third shift of the server. We had the first shift where it was a friend server, the second shift where it became an Overwatch server, and the third shift now where it's become a Overwatch community server. Or trying to be anyways. And build itself forward. And what does that mean? Well, that just means that it's going to be a community of people. Now, how did each of the events come about? I've heard some questions around this asked. So, how did some of the events... So the Winter Wonderland event was this whole inspiration of how do you make a story centered around a bunch of mages throwing snowballs at each other and hunting a Yeti? How do you make a story out of that? Well, I thought of a way to make a story out of it. What if the Omniums, being what they are, still being active within Overwatch Canon 1, by the end of the lore, by the end of the story of Overwatch 1, the Omniums are reactivated and London happens, and then Overwatch 2 happens. Overwatch is reassembled, Omniums are up and work again, big guy comes along, stomping, and Overwatch 2 is formed. So, with all that said, I had a lot of room to play around with, because I had a lot of room to play around within the start of Overwatch and the ending of it. And so the idea here was, I didn't want to make it serious. I didn't want to make anything too serious, and if there was going to be a serious narrative, it had to be accompanied by a serious story. So, what I did is, around this time, I was making some of the stuff to be like a Terminator style of maze. Like the Omnium got like this biological gunk from like a bio sample, and is made like Terminators with like flesh on them, almost like you could say like omnics with like flesh on them and skin and stuff that makes them look like maize. And they're coming out and attacking the Overwatch team and other people and slandering the name as a whole ruse to kill them off. And I threw a few Easter eggs in there. And then around the time of me doing the second script for it, I found a female voice actor on Overwatch. And they're still in the server. They're a wonderful person. Highly recommend all the praise they do. It's amazing. Anyways, so they helped me voice act some of the stuff for all the females, and we made for some excellent stuff, some excellent voice acted scripts. And these scripts are fully voice acted. You can go listen to them on the server. And what ended up happening is we finished the story, and after the winter event, I had some stuff to throw together for the next one. Now, this is where I got into mini events, where it wasn't a big content shift, but I had gotten the idea of, I want to do this more. I want to do more of this, instead of custom games. It takes less stress off me to come up with multiple custom games to play through and get people interested, rather to make an event with a little bit of extra effort on a script, and while that event is going through, I can figure out some kind of thing for the reward or whatever. So while all that's going on, we have the Winter Wonderland event. What did that have? It had, let's see, 1, 2, 3. It had up to 5 scripts and 2 updates. Now, the way that the Winter Wonderland was set up is that there were like radio transmissions, and they were like pre-recorded messages, so you were like taking in the stuff that way. And then following that theme, we have in the server the Winter 2021 Extras, which is just a compilation of a winter pun bot and a quote bot, where you could type quote or winter pun to get a winter pun or a quote. Then we had Operation Heat Street. Now, the story with Operation Heat Street is a bit of a long one, but essentially, in the past custom game modes, I noticed this one custom game that we really enjoyed called Operation Heat Street. It took the inspiration of Payday multiplayer and put it into Overwatch, and it made it just really interesting, really intuitive. And so, what ended up happening is we have this sort of how do I put it? We have this like thing where I'm just like, hey, I'm going to include this as Operation Heat Street and give a little bit of backstory to it. And this is where I was thinking, okay, well, we'll continue the stories in like a headcanon sort of way, continuing where the assistant that was for the Omnium started up the process again of the administrator and wanted to make more of them, so we had Operation Heat Street, which was just enemies rolling in for you to kill and do some kind of objective. And this is where the idea of the mini update came around, with its reward being Witcher Season 1 and 2. Since I knew Witcher was popular at the time, might as well do Witcher Season 1 and 2, it's fantasy related. And then we had the Rooster Rave. Rooster Rave being only like a month or 2 ago. But Rooster Rave, essentially, we had only about 4 scripts in total. The first one got made. And what happened is around the second one, I believe there was some life issues that came into precedence there, where the second one never got released officially in terms of like update capacity, but it was released later on because our female voice actor Mace was going through some tough times around that time, and nothing against them. They were going through some life issues. Life comes first before video games and server stuff and community projects, so I completely understand. We had a discussion about it, and it was all good. I released the script. and then we had the third one, and the fourth one was pretty small. But overall, Rooster Rave was not so much a story-packed thing, just a aftermath of the headcanon we have in Operation Heat Street, going over the lunar year and celebrations of all that. And we also, this was the first time we incorporated art done by one of our staff, otherwise known as Puppy Heels. Wonderful staff member, love him to death. And then in the extras category, we had a bunch of stuff for like cat-based puns because it's the year of the tiger, even though we called it Rooster Rave. And then Visage of the Vessels. This was a failed. This update failed hard. So, Vessel of Visages. After the Lunar Year update, we're really kicking into high gear to have an outline. Because before that, we had an outline beforehand of like because in like going all the way back to like Junkenstein's Revenge, we had a slight outline of Winter Wonderland. I made improvements on it then, and we had a slight outline for like the next update. Starting with Rooster Rave, I wanted a structure. I wanted something structured, and I wanted an outline, so I made an outline. I made an outline for the next 3 events, and I picked out game modes and game codes on a website and dedicated a whole day to just testing these codes relentlessly with a couple friends. And I tested them out to make sure they all worked. The reason Visage of Vessels failed is we had... Well, first off, Visage of Vessels with a partnership. That's not why it failed. The partnership went great. I met a person on Overwatch, and we're good friends still. And we had a partnership with the Abyss. A wonderful server, a very chill gaming server. Would highly recommend. They play Apex, Overwatch, and... yeah, it's just pretty great. You can look for the affiliate link in the server, or I'll probably put it in the doobly-doo down below. But great server. There's also a link for us in the doobly-doo as well. Anywho, great server overall. We had a partnership, and they would host the event, and we would host the event over here. Problem. What happens when a code breaks in Overwatch? Well, the code broke. Meaning I couldn't use it. It just wouldn't work. It wouldn't load up for whatever reason. It was too big or whatever, but we had tested it out before, and we tested it out a week before, and then we tested it out 2 days before the event went live, and then it went live, and it failed. So I had to find new custom modes to bring people in. It was a train wreck. In this one, we went for a bit more of a serious story, but this time focusing on Talon, so we could have that. We kind of had to buckle down and make a serious story, so that was nice. But then, after that, we had Rat Race, which is the most recent, only ending, like, what, a week or so ago? Before this one? Rat Race, at the time of recording this, Rat Race has ended, like, 2 days ago. Rat Race was phenomenal. It was part of a side mission, and this was supposed to be the in-between for this month. It was supposed to be an in-between. However, because Visage of the Soul was failing so badly, what ended up happening is I had to move this 1 week ahead because I didn't want to have anything not there. So we moved this ahead, and here we are with Rat Race. Now, Rat Race was a sort of like a plan B. Not a great plan B, but it was a plan B. Rat Race was just a simple little thing for Mario Kart and go in with a pretty decent payoff in terms of rewards. The same thing with Visage of the Vessel. Visage of the Vessel had a wonderful reward of around 13 manga you could have, about 10 plus full manga series. A good majority of those being JoJo, but you know, still good. Rooster Rave, I believe. Yeah, Rooster Rave had the pun bot and the bot that sticks around. I believe most of what I have is like the bigger updates get like recurring stuff that sticks around for a long time, and the smaller ones just get like package stuff. Anyways, That aside, I really enjoyed pulling off these sort of updates. And I still enjoy it. I still love doing it. However, as of right now, as of this recording, I am the only one doing them. Yes, ever since, I believe it's ever since, Operation Heat Street, I have been the only one doing these updates. That means voice acting, hosting, and all that jazz. But that's kind of the story of the server and story of how everything came to be, how everything came to this point in time. It's not a very big story. It's not a grandiose story by any means, but it's a story nonetheless. That being said, though, I hope you all stick around for what's coming up with Archives, as it'll be a fantastic opportunity to play more custom game modes with me, have some wonderful scripts, and some new insight here or there from your wonderful creator of Cactus the Potted Man, or... Anyhow. I don't think I want to end this quite yet. For any of you that has fully come around to the end, for any of you that's fully around to the end, I have a little special treat for you. A small special treat. A piece of data that people in the beginning of the video just wouldn't know. A piece of data that nobody else knows at all. Okay, you ready for this? You ready for this? You ready? It's really big. Really big. Yeah, that was the big piece of information right there. I know it's pretty massive that you would just like that you would stick around for such a big reveal. I know, but you're welcome. You're welcome for that big reveal. What was the big reveal, you might have asked? Nothing. Now for the actual big reveal. The actual big reveal is that I love all of you. I love all of you and for everything that has come around to the server. I love the partners that I'm able to partner with now because of the server. I love the people I'm able to partner with because of the server. I love being able to host things, create things, and make this entire community bigger and larger than it's ever become. Thank you. Sincerely. From your overlord and creator, Cactus the Potted Man, I salute you.